Good afternoon, traders. Hope you had a wonderful trading day. I am Ricky Gaspard, and I'm holding this live stream to address some of the questions that you may have. The topics in this live stream will be written down so that I can address them and maybe head in the right direction on the next live stream. And thank you everyone for making it. Total of 38 of you so far. We'll give them a couple minutes to get in here. So you can type your questions in the chat, or you can request to speak. You can do either one. I'm good with either or. And I am recording this live stream for anybody who wants to replay it later. I will upload it and share a link to everyone. Everyone hear me okay? Good deal. All right, question number one, EMAs. They're actually just moving averages. Some of them are faster than the others. So if you had a 5 EMA like we use on the pre-market, this is looking back 5 bars, and it's giving an average of the direction of those last 5 bars. And so on the next EMA, which is a 15 that we use, that would be looking back 15 bars. So the one that's only based on 5 candles is going to move a lot faster than the one that's based on 15. So when you're using EMAs, the faster one's going to cross over and head upwards. I normally wait for the slower one, the 15, to move upwards as well before I make a decision to enter. EMAs are only a history of the past movement of the stock. They're not a guarantee that the price is going to continue to go up. It may jump up a couple of bars, but that's why they're just moving averages. They're showing what's happened in the past. So if you took a 50 EMA, that would be looking back 50 bars and give you an average of the direction of the price. And the color coding in Thinkorswim's level 2 is not really a good one. Most of them, the background colors change from red to yellow to green. This one doesn't do it. So this could be either be a seller, since it's red, it could be a seller selling 200 shares. This could be a buyer selling 200 shares at this price level. These are the prices they're asking for. This is the prices they're willing to pay. So you can actually have a lower ask price in this list as well as a high one. But the colors in level 2 in Thinkorswim are not really good to rely on. That's been something everybody's been trying to get them to change for years. It's probably never going to happen, but they really do need to address this issue. The main thing you want to see here is the size of the numbers, not just the colors. If you see some high numbers coming in here and they're asking for higher prices in this column, they're going to try to drive the stock price up. And hopefully you see a lot of green numbers in here. Using the latter. Let me drag that screen over because I don't have it showing on the other one. So the price ladder is basically limit orders. Let's say the price right here is $3.76, and this would be the price here in the ladder. Let's say you don't want to buy this stock unless it hits $4. You can actually come up here to $4 and put an order in right here, a limit order. And you can see the line over here when I'm on that $4 of where your price entry would be. So if you clicked here, but first you have to adjust how many shares you want to buy before you click here. And if you, let's say you want to get out at 420, then you would come over here and set a price at 420 to get out. And make sure it's the same amount of shares that you got in with. And that's really basically all there is to it. Sometimes if you set a price here, the price can jump over. It can gap up and jump over your limit order. I have had that happen before. Also, you have to watch when you set a sell limit over on this side that it doesn't jump over it as well. It's rare that that happens, but it can happen. Let's see, I have a question around the same EMA question. What's the difference with WMA? WMA, my mind is blank at the moment as far as coming up with a difference. I know we have simple EMA and EXP, which would be X potential. Hennessy might can answer that one. Yeah, the weighted moving average, I've never used it actually, to be honest with you. It's either EMA or simple moving average. So I can't actually describe to you what a weighted moving average is since I never used it. I've never even coded it into a script. I know that when I do write a code that has an EMA or a simple moving average in there, it gives you all kind of choices in the drop down in the settings when you click the gear icon. But I never change from what I code in. On the EMAs, you can use the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, because they're only histories of the past. It's really not going to affect time. It's just that they won't move as fast. How to differentiate if the stock is going up. I go through that every morning in the live stream. We are always watching for dominator bars to move. These dominator bars are actual volume. And I don't normally get in unless we have a good pullback and I'm watching the volume come back in. I don't ever give an exact entry price because I'm waiting on volume to come in as well. And sometimes I don't nail the support level that I place on the stock. Sometimes I'm a little above it myself. And a beginning trader may want to try that. Just give it a few minutes. Don't just jump in. I never just jump in either. Sometimes I take a risk. I'm going to tell you the truth here, but I'm seeing more than just volume coming in. I'm relying that the stock is trending up and it's pulled back and it's going to jump up again. I'm actually reading the history of the stock before I get in, how it's reacting, where I think it may go. This all comes with many years of experience. It's not something you can just guess at. The color in the Momo. The colors, all I did was put it from dark to light. So the lighter the color, the less the stock is moving. And the color changes to yellow if it's moving more, then green if it has more activity. So the more activity that it has, the darker the color goes. So these up here will be your top movers. We all get gun shy, Mario, sometimes, even I do. Like, should I really be buying this many shares of this stock right at the start? And whenever I start having doubts, there's sometimes I don't even make the trade. And then sometimes I regret it. It just runs right on up. I was correct, but I didn't buy it. I think everybody's going to have those issues every now and then because your uncertainty will kick in. Trading is not really easy. You have to really watch what you're doing. You have to make sure the stock is moving in your direction. Never trade against the trend. Like, it's okay to trade in these dips as we're coming up, but I wouldn't try to buy it expecting a bounce when we're trending downwards. So I normally place it after it starts. Let's say the stock runs up. Let me see if I can find an example here. So the stock runs up, and I would normally mark the top resistance level when the price stops rising, right here. And then it starts pulling back, and I will wait on the next green candle before I mark the support level, such as so. And then I would look down here for green bars. This is very low volume, so I doubt that I would have got in. Had these bars been this big, I would have probably gotten in. But this is during the regular session, so volume is a little bit lower than pre-market when we're playing the stocks. In pre-market, we have a big rush of volume come in, and it's easier to make that decision. But these flat zones is where I normally try to enter. But now we're trending down on that one, so there would be no entries for me on there. It's been trending down since this morning, I think. It may have made a couple of runs up. I haven't been watching it. You can set a buy order below the price. I think the main thing to pay attention to when we're playing pre-market, let me see if I can get back to pre-market on this one. The main thing to pay attention to on pre-market, this is the kind of bars I'm talking about. We have a lot more volume in pre-market. So this stock actually started moving up and then we flattened out. And I love watching for these flattened spots where the price is kind of just hovering to the right. And then you see these bars coming in. So let's say, for instance, I set a resistance level here. The price breaks through. Since this is early into the trade, there's a good chance it's going to run up pretty high. And where I would exit is first sign of this red candle, or if I bought enough shares and I'm satisfied with the profit, I may get out right here on this green candle. I don't ever try to chase them to the top. To me, it's risky. I've seen where I've held on before in the past and a big red candle take half of it away right on the next candle. So I'm happy getting my cut right here in the middle somewhere. And I buy enough shares to be able to make it worth the investment. Daily trader, even the EMA and the simple's a little bit rougher. The exponential's also a smoother of those averages. So just by it being weighted, it may smooth it a little more. It's like I said, I never used the WMA. I don't have much information on it. To Dean's question, so take, for example, BPTH today kept bouncing off resistance around 590. Is it a hidden seller knocking it down? That's a good question. Shorts or profit taking? You never know, because people like me that trade, I don't put pending orders in. So I would be considered a hidden seller or buyer. So trying to predict or answer your question of who is responsible would be very difficult. Person like me, let's say I bought 3,000 shares and I don't put a sell order and you buy into it and the volume is low and my 3,000 share order is enough to drop it down a little bit and all of a sudden I click sell, you never knew I was there. That's what they consider a hidden seller or a buyer. It's those that don't put pending orders in. If we had all the answers to these market questions, then we would all be millionaires, right? So they're not going to give you an exact solution to where every time you buy or sell, it's correct. You're going to take some losses. You're going to have some winners. On taxes, I run mine different than everybody else. I'm a corporation. And in a corporation, you are allowed to reinvest company money without being overtaxed. And that's how I trade, is through my corporate account. As far as personal taxes, you're going to have to get with a CPA or someone who knows about investing that can answer your tax questions. William R., what does Magic Scan search for? Believe it or not, this Magic Scan is the same thing as this indicator and this indicator, but I've tightened up the code in it to where if we get spikes and they're continuous, it's going to track and keep those stocks in the list. So you may see one spike over here and then disappear, and it's still showing down here. So it's I mainly built it to hang on to the stocks, the ones that are moving the most in pre-market, so that we can continually watch them. It works pretty good, and sometimes it finds stocks that we weren't watching and sticks them up here in the list. That's where the magic part comes in. It's a very good scan. It does what it's supposed to do. When you say the percentage of the trade, are you talking about how much should you expect to earn? So as far as earning, I never try to set a number. If I'm looking over here, before I get in a trade, I'm looking over here on the right side. Is it going from $4 to 401, 402? Then I know I'm not interested in getting in a stock because it's only paying pennies between each number. If I look over here and it's $4, $4.50, $5. I don't know how much I'm going to make because I can't predict how high the stock's going to go. I don't know where the next seller is. So if I see 50 cents over here, I'm going to probably, if I plan on buying 1,000 shares, I'm going to enter with 500. If it goes my direction, I will add the other 500, and then I will start thinking about getting out. So if I can get out with that 50 cents or that dollar, I'm perfectly happy with what I am awarded. But you can't just say, hey, I need to make $500 a day. I need to put this much money in, because you're going to struggle to do that. It's just not going to happen. You may get lucky once or twice, but it's not going to happen very often. Let's see. Can you set a buy order below the current price? I already answered that one. If you're talking taxes, I can't answer tax questions. You're going to have to get with your CPA, John, or your tax guy. There is no way to tell if you're going to get a big red candle, Amadeus. There could be that hidden seller there. There could be no hidden seller. It could just trickle down. This level 2 screen, I'm always watching this column right here. Sometimes you'll see just 200, 100, 500, and then all of a sudden you see 13,000, 10,000, 9,000. That tells me that they're raising and they're buying this stock. They're raising the price. It's going to climb. But then it'll drop back down to 2s, 3s, and 4s. So I'm watching for high numbers here. And I'm doing this before I enter as well. If I see high green numbers in here, then I'm going to think about getting in. On Dallas's question, how do you know when volume is good enough to trade? When you have high volume flow. That's the best I can answer that question. So I don't want to see stocks where the volume is just trickling like this here. I'm not going to take a chance on it. I want fast action. I'm scalping. I'm not waiting. I'm not buying and holding. So if we see a stock and it's going from 10,000 shares to 15,000 to 20, and it's moving about as fast as I'm talking, I'm interested. But if it's going 10,000 shares, 11,000 shares, 13,000 shares, I'm not so much interested, but I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if volume starts increasing. There's a lot of things in the market you can't control. The stock can go from no volume to millions of shares traded in a heartbeat. You just have to watch the numbers, see how they're increasing. You cannot set a stop limit in pre-market. Your stop limit's going to be your mouse click. And that's to Rich L. I do scale in and scale out at times, but if I'm certain of my trade, I'm going to hit it hard right at the start. And that's for Happy Trader. Just like we said yesterday, it was so strong, I just nailed it hard. William R. Do you wait for the candle to close to determine the next actions? I ask because have gotten quickly stopped out. I don't fully understand your question, but if you're talking about scalping, I always wait until that next green candle, and I'm always verifying it with the volume. Are you not buying at the bottom and you're trying to buy the top, and all of a sudden it reverses on you and you get out? Because you can't chase these green candles up. If you do, you could get stung. You're going to get lucky on occasion. You probably can make some profit 50% of the time, but you're going to lose 50% of the time as well by chasing green candles. So you're basically trading either to lose or break even. I am a corporation. You can do it under an LLC. But you need to have a legitimate company, not just form one for trading. To SC2166 pre-market scans, I have two of them. One of them is a regular scan that you can build through Thinkorswim, and that would be the one that I run at the top all the time. And it includes the after hours script. Let me pull it over for you and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So in your scan tab, let's just say you were building a scan. Let me get to the right one. Let me open up that pre-market scan. So you're going to set your price and your volume. And in pre-market, I leave my volume way down at 2,000 because I want to know right when they start moving. But to get this after hours percent change, you have to click this add filter. And I believe it's under stock. Let me see. That must be under study. Let me get on the other one and get to the study. So add filter and study. And then you go down here to the price performance, and there's the after hours percent change, and that will allow your scan to work in pre-market. But in pre-market, you can't run a whole bunch of code unless you know what you're doing. But if you just add a bunch of code out of Thinkorswim, this scan's not going to perform for you. And the other one is totally custom coded. And it took me years to get that one done because every time I'd put a code in it, it did not want to run. The My Blessing is MACD on steroids. That's a good way to put it. I've included numbers in here that make it respond like buyers and sellers, and then I color coded it. Those numbers are not easy to come up with. It's like trying to pick lottery numbers to pick 3. But when you finally land on it, you land on it. I've been using this indicator for, I'm going to say probably 5 years, maybe. But under basic numbers. And it did not move like this. It moved much slower. And then I wouldn't use it, and then I would use it, and then I wouldn't use it, and then finally I started playing around with the code and figured it out. So this is my blessing indicator. So this is the trend line of the stock. I kind of changed it up. It's not just MACD. I think the only thing really on the MACD would be this yellow line that I did not change. It's always the 0 line in the MACD. But I moved this number to where I could focus on the trend of the stock, and I moved this one much faster so that I could determine if the price was going to go up or down. And I tried to get it to before the price moved up or down. I came kind of close, like in this area here, you can see it turned around before the stock made a slight rise. It's not perfect, but it works very well. And I don't think I could ever change the numbers to make it let us know, hey, get in now before it rises. That's not my intention. It was, but I can't program that. But I'm close. You can see here it actually went up, but the price barely went up. But when it's an active trading day and it's a lot of volatility, it works really well. On your chart, this is Yandros. On your chart, I do not see the white bid and ask labels. And how do you get rid of them? Yandros, are you using the V4 indicator? If you are, I'll show you how to get rid of them. I guess you don't have to answer that, because if you're using one of the other codes, I may not have put that in there. But if you go to studies and edit studies and you're using the V4 and you hit this gear icon right here, it says show bid and ask label, and I have them set to no, and I'm only showing the spread. And that's how easy that is. You have to click the gear icon on the indicator that you're using and see if I included this script in there. If I didn't, you will not be able to take it out like we are on this V4. Job mix, I'm only looking at the recent candles when I'm setting support and resistance levels. I will leave them there for a couple of days and see if the price continues to track on those levels. But there is times where the stock quit trading, we don't see it for a while, and it pops back in, and I'll still have lines there. Then I delete them and start over. But I usually start by marking the high price and the low price of that stock, and any turnaround that I see, I will mark. But as far as scalping, I'm looking for that one run up and that one pullback before that next green candle. I've already answered the question on these two scans. This one is typical from Thinkorswim. This one is special coded. This one actually looks at the stocks that were moving in after hours trading the day before. It takes those stocks into consideration along with the pre-market movers. I'm not looking for a specific number, shadow, on volume. I'm looking for volume flow. Let's say you turn the water faucet on and it's just dripping. I'm not interested. You turn it up halfway, I may start getting interested. You have full water flow going, I'm interested. That's an easy way to explain it. Buy the market is not a limit order. Buy the ask is. And I always buy the ask and sell the bid. By using the buttons, you can sometimes get a bad entry and a bad exit. By using the ladder, you can get rid of some of that bad entry and bad exit. But sometimes the stock is moving so fast, I just hit the buttons and don't worry about the 10 cents I may lose, or the nickel, or the penny. Amadeus. Wicks on the top, or sellers driving the price back down. So you can have a green candle like this with the wick on the top. The price was up here. The sellers came in, or profit takers, and they drove it back down by selling. And we ended up in some red candles being driven down. The wick on the bottom is exactly the opposite. The stock had came down to this level. The buyers stepped back in and drove it back up, and that's what the long wick on the bottom is. So when we see a big red candle, let's say we had a run up and then we see a big red candle forming and I'm fixing to mark support, and it doesn't give me a chance to mark support, that long wick starts developing. That means the buyers are buying up what they're selling faster than I can determine where the support levels should be. So there's two entries that we play, and that would be the long wick on the bottom, and I'm also watching these bars when we have that wick. If I start seeing volume increasing, I can see the increasing by the bars getting longer. And most of the time we'll have a big green bar kick in. That means everybody's making that play. We're not the only ones doing pullbacks. We're not the only ones watching that stock. And a lot of people play pullbacks. It's a very popular strategy. It's not my strategy. I just perfected it the way I wanted to play it. It's nothing I developed. It's a common strategy. Milo, we don't know when they're going to consolidate. Usually if they run up and they don't pull back very far and they just start bouncing around, that's consolidation to me. As long as they don't sell off and they're holding that price, and a lot of people refer to it as squeezing, consolidating, channeling. There's different terms for it. And this would be part of it right here. This session is being recorded. John NG, if you have install questions, you're going to have to submit a support ticket. It's very easy to do once they explain it to you, or if you watch video number 8 in how-to videos, it covers installation of scripts and labels. Yandros, you may have a older copy. If you reload it out of the list on the V4, you'll probably get it. I think I updated it about 3 weeks ago. A lot of people like to use VWAP, Happy Trader. I don't use it. I'm a numbers watcher. I'm not waiting on something to bounce off of anything. VWAP is good. I used to trade with it. But watching the numbers to me works a lot better. That's just my style. Maybe VWAP would work best for you. But you can use VWAP in certain cases. Philly Will. Yes, you can use the 3 or 5 minute chart. You have to watch the 5-minute candles though. The price can drop right in that certain candle and you can lose. If it moved 10 cents in 5 minutes, you could lose 10 cents in that same 5 minutes. You're not seeing all of the candles. All of the price is contained within that one 5-minute candle. So you have to be very careful when you're trading the 5-minute. But yes, you can. Looking for high numbers on the ask side. That's what I'm looking for. And multiple high numbers, not just one every now and then. If you focus here when a stock is running up, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see a bunch of high numbers come in, then they'll disappear. And you'll see some low numbers, then you'll see some high numbers coming in again. And that's how I use it. You can use trend lines. That would be Hennessy style of trading, is trend lines, angled lines, flat lines. You can use them in trading. They are very reliable. They're kind of like the support and resistance levels I set. Sometimes I will mark supply and demand levels. And it just all depends on your style of trading, how you want to trade a stock, and what you're used to on charting. Me, I prefer a blank chart in reality. When I'm trading on my other screen, I don't even have these crossovers, these moving averages here. I'm mainly watching these volume bars and how the stock is reacting. Is it going to pull back where I can get an entry? Did the volume increase? I stick to those rules right there and not rely so much on moving averages. These are confirmation to me. They're not an indication to get in, get out. This green line may be down here turning green, or red line turning green, but that doesn't make me get in. I look back up here and I'm watching what's going on, and I'm watching for volume spikes. I don't think there's any indicator out there that would give you a definitive answer of yes, it's time to buy. You have to always watch what's going on. Even drawing angled lines, flat lines, you can't predict which way it's going to go. It can break through one of your lines that you drew. How do you set up different scans charts level 2 on the screen so that they come up together when you turn the toss on? To be honest with you, I set all these are all individual windows. You can find that multi-monitor video over in TOS videos. All these are is detached windows. So on my main chart screen, I brought up a scan, put it on the one that I wanted to do, reached up there and on those 3 bars, and I detached it, and I drug it over here to this monitor. Once you get everything set up like you want, you can detach your chart, resize it, drag it over here. I just did 3 scans and detached the level 2. So to get just the level 2, you have to uncheck everything on the right side column except for level 2, detach it, resize it, then go back and check the chart back and the time and sales, whatever you had up originally. Once you get all of these set up, you go to setup on your main screen, save the workspace as, and name it. And in all honesty, every morning when I come, I've got so many windows on so many monitors, I'm still dragging 3 or 4 of these windows around and putting them where they need to be. It remembers some of them, it doesn't remember all of them. Santos, that's all going to come with trading experience. There's no way that I can say how to keep your stock from getting faked out, how to keep you from getting faked out. You're going to have to take some time, maybe not trade, and do some paper trading. That's the best way to do it. We're back to the hidden seller thing. There could be a hidden seller sitting there and you don't know about it. I don't know about it either. As far as being faked out, we don't know until we see that it just lost all of its profits. If the stock is rising, we don't know if it's a fake pump until they sell it all. You were using the custom buy and sell volume indicator, and now you use dominator. There's a big coding difference between this indicator, if I can find my mouse. There's a big coding difference between this indicator and this label. This is total volume. This is doing calculations based on the last 20 candles only. That's why the volume number is not accurate. It doesn't match this one up here because we're only looking 20 bars back. That's where I'm getting the average of the volume of the buyers and sellers in this indicator. We don't need to look very far back, and even with the 20 candle limit that I've got set, I'm still only watching the current bar. This current bar volume you're not going to see up here. Well, I guess you do. You see it in this one label, but it's not going to be based off of the total volume. It's based off only the last 20 bars. Andros, I'll upload it again, but it won't be available. If I do it today, it won't be available till tomorrow. But I'll get it uploaded again. I guess that's NLE Groove. I can't say your name, but you know who I'm talking about. You said you usually watch for the big numbers on the ask of the level 2. Do you also look at bid prices? I don't, to be honest with you. I'm just watching to see if they're driving it up. And that, because I know that they're buying, they want to buy cheaper than the numbers on this side. So over here, they're bidding lower prices to get a better entry. Over here, they're trying to bring the price up. So I'm interested in these over here that are trying to drive the price up because I want it to go up. Happy Trader, are you on a 1 minute chart? Your colors should not be different if you're on the same time. Even if you're on a different time frame, they should be the same. Maybe it's your colors on your computer, or maybe it's my colors on my computer. But once the colors are set, the colors don't really matter as long as you can determine which way is up and down. No stop loss. Good question. So we don't have access to buy and sell orders. And the way I was able to do this, it started way back here with the breakthrough of this indicator. How do I know that the price is going up or down? I had to code in when the price was increasing and the volume was going up. I had to write the code to let it know that it was green, which indicated buyers. If the volume was increasing and the price was falling, I called that sellers. And it came out pretty close. It's not buy and sell orders, but by tracking volume with the price going up or down, I was able to come up with these percentages. This code is actually in almost everything that you see on this screen. That code's in these arrows, it's in this dominator, it's in this my blessing indicator. It's in a lot of the scripts that I write. This is a very important back-end code for me to use on most of the indicators because I need to know direction, and I don't want to guess at direction, and I don't want to base direction on previous movement. So by counting the shares up and down, that's what this column is doing, allows me to determine if it's going up or down, which allows me to plot it green or red. Amadeus, I'm going to hang on to it for a while. This is a very technical indicator that I'm going to be putting out next. It's not so much to say that, hey, it's close enough. I don't like those words. I want to be able to put it on the screen and be confident in it. It'll never be, just like I said earlier, it'll never be 100%, but I don't think I'm at the 90% yet. And as long as I don't get it to where I want it, I'm not going to release it. So I'm still working on it. You don't have to change the times in these scans on the back end. It's going to adjust accordingly. If you see an indicator that I have and it's not matching your time, you don't have to worry about it. That was Eric Medic's question. I rarely short stocks. I'm an upside player, even in a down market. But I do on occasion. Just not my preference. That VSC is already released. It's in the list down at the bottom in scripts or in scans. I don't remember which one I put it in. It's probably in scans at the bottom. Sam, can you be a little bit more specific about how I have volume set up on the screen? Randy P, what is your volume mover scan? You caught me, didn't you? It's another scan I'm working on. I'm trying to get average volumes together over time. I've also created a label for this as well. I think I hit on it a little bit this morning or yesterday morning about taking what is the average buyers and sellers over the last hour. What is the average of the buyers and sellers over the last 4 hours? What is the average buyers and sellers over the day? Those 3 time frames, the hour, the 4 hour, and the day, I'm trying to help out the guys that are swing trading or buying and holding. We have both. We have every type of trader here. If I can nail down the numbers over an hour and a 4 hour period, let's say they're 80-20 over an hour, there's no guarantee it's going to be the same the next hour. But I'm trying to figure out what I can code in there to where if it makes a small dip, you know that over the hour it's been averaging 80-20, 70-30, 80-20, etc., that it may keep them from bailing out too soon. So that's going to be the purpose of this scan and that label that goes with it. They won't hire me. They're going to think I'm writing cheat code over here. I am the only coder that's done this, though. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I'm the only one that did it. There's quite a few people using it on their back ends now, and I'm aware of that. But they told me right at the start there was no way that I could write my own script that would call out which stocks were moving until after they moved. And they were partially correct, but they didn't know I could nail it down as far as a percent. This was the big breakthrough for me right here. This one indicator. Being able to write code instead of paying for a scanner service that gave me a stock too late. Just an upgraded version, Daredevil. I think I may have put colors in it, maybe. I don't remember. I think that's what I did. I just added these colors. That's the only difference. Now you're trying to get me to remember what happened a couple weeks ago, but I'm pretty sure that's what I did. I just changed the colors. Or when you're my age, you don't know what you ate for dinner yesterday. You have to ask the wife. What did we eat? I don't know TradingView script. The very few TradingView scripts that we have, actual members reached out and helped, and I thank them very much, but they were able to do some of the conversions for me. But I did run into a question yesterday where we had a member purchase and I could not help him with his TradingView install. I couldn't tell him the first button to click. So I don't know if it's a good idea to provide TradingView scripts, or I need to educate myself on TradingView, which I don't have time for. Or maybe somebody needs to, I know we have a couple of moderators that know about TradingView, but they're also traders, so getting them to respond, I'm not expecting them to respond during trading hours, but I don't know the urgency of the guy that has the question, so it becomes an issue. If you're using Windows and you do a search for widget launcher and install it, it's a widget with multiple applications in it. And I just picked out the clock one, the digital clock one, got rid of the borders, got rid of the background colors, and just made it all black and left the numbers white. And I drug it over to the screen. So it's called Widget Launcher. Who Loves Lunatic? I really changed it because my vision is bad. I guess you guys know that already. I only have one good eye. I'm not totally blind in the other one, but I only see light at the top. And colors catch my attention. Hopefully it's catching everyone else's attention as well. But sometimes I find them a bit distracting. It's kind of like setting an alarm on a scan. When all of a sudden I see the scan refresh because it says loading and reloading and loading and reloading. So do we need the noise and the colors? The colors help sometimes. May help some of you. I left them on this one. I tried to do a background one on the volume spike and it was so distracting I got rid of it. Daredevil, I don't know anything about TradingView. I've been on Thinkorswim since 1990. I couldn't tell you if there's a delay there or not. Mario, that DJT was on the news yesterday. They were saying that Biden is controlling it, doesn't want it to go anywhere. I don't know how true that is. But I wouldn't put anything past anybody nowadays. I actually think that they're controlling the entire market, but I could be wrong as well. I don't want to make any predictions. I've tried to stay away from politics because I get too mad. I know what's right. I know right from wrong. I learned that as a child. But it seems like we have some adults that don't know right from wrong. Nick says, I have the same setup of you, but I keep hearing a ding periodically. Nick, if you look in your setup, I don't know what you're using. If you go to that studies and edit studies and you click these gear icons, you can maybe find one that says turn alarm on or off. Check each one of them. Just hit these gear icons and edit studies and look for turn alarm off. I'm always watching these numbers, just like these numbers up here. You want to see them growing. I want to see these numbers coming in big spurts. High numbers, letting me know the buyers are driving up the price, or the market makers. You'll see the market makers here. One will keep popping in every now and then, and he's controlling it pretty much. So high numbers, high numbers, high numbers. There's 2,000. There was 11,000. It was fast. You have to keep an eye on it while the stock is going up. So we saw an 11,000. If we see a 15, then we see a 20, and then we see a couple of lines of 8, 10, and 12, you know they're driving it up. There's a 17,000 right here at 430, 424. Daredevil, I use Linux on my downstairs computer. I have one by my chair. I'm always looking at the market, practicing trading. Even through all these years and through all the knowledge, I still train myself daily. If I'm just sitting in the chair, I'm practicing. So downstairs I'm using Linux Mint. It's a lightweight version of Linux. It doesn't require a lot of resources. And I only use it for trading. So it's a Linux Mint, and I install TOS on it. And of course Discord. Ding, 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 ding. Andros, I don't know what you're talking about. If I screen live, your clock is flying. No problem, Mario. I'm going to try to do this once a week for you guys. Of course, I got a vacation coming up, so you won't hear from me for 1 week. I'll try to squeeze another one of these in next week. Probably Wednesday, maybe. You'll see it in the event calendar when I do it, and then I'll share it. Well, if it's 3 seconds faster rain, maybe you'll see the stock movement before you get in, right? That's like calling Australia because they're a day ahead and asking them who's going to win the football game over here in the U.S. I am recording, Sean. My clock is the same as Thinkorswim, and it's the same as my computer clock. Can you have space in Discord for paper money so that you can share experiences? We have a channel already that says profit and loss, I believe. Let me see what it was called. It's called paper trading, actually, I believe. No, that's paper trading with Niner. Let me see. I'm still looking. Wins and losses. We have that channel already. You can post them there. I'm thinking Hennessy or maybe Bobby may fill in, but Hennessy may still be tied up with his duties. You may be on your own for a week. I don't know the availability of Bobby, but I think he may be working as well. But I absolutely need a vacation, guys. I haven't had one for 3 years, and I've been at this 24 hours a day for the last year. I have to take a break. Thank you, Amadeus. We're actually going to just travel. We're going to head west in Texas from where we are here. I'll probably circle around through Big Bend, then head up to maybe Arizona, maybe New Mexico, up into Utah, then into Colorado, and work my way back down. So no set destination, just to travel. Travel, spend a night or two. If we get bored there, move on to the next one. What made me get into trading? Believe it or not, curiosity. Just seeing it back then in the 1990s, it was probably just somebody mentioned, hey, I'm making a little bit of money in stocks. You want to learn? And then they want to charge you $20,000 to teach you. So I just started figuring it out on my own when I saw Thinkorswim was a free platform. But back then you had to pay for the live streaming. But it was cheap. I think it was $20 a month. Going in a 4x4. I'm going in one of my trucks. I don't want to get to the cities. I want to hit the back roads. I want to climb rocks, go through mud. I want the back trails. That's my lifestyle. I have a GMC Sierra 4x4 jacked up with 35s. Got a 6-inch lift on it. I have 2 of them. I actually climbed Black Gap Road in Big Bend, if anybody's familiar with it. And I did it in a brand new truck. My wife thought I was nuts. But at the end of Black Gap, it had washed out and they piled a bunch of boulders up. And I didn't know it, but it was to stop the thing from eroding. And I actually drove that truck up those boulders and got to the top and could not see down to go down. But I still went down. I slid down most of the way. The bumper hit the dirt on the bottom, and I took off and pulled into the ranger station. And he asked me, he says, man, you must be one hell of a 4x4 operator to do that. And I said, do what? He said, we closed that trail a couple months ago, and you just came from there. I said, no kidding. He said, yep. I said, well, no, I've never 4x4 before. It's a brand new truck. He said, you don't know how lucky you are. So I felt good about my experience and to do it successfully without one scratch. Yeah, 6.2 always. Need that horsepower. John Mix, I trade everything that moves, brother. If it's got numbers and good numbers and headed my direction, I'm clicking the mouse button. Better get to Big Bend before summer sets in. It's going to be so hot you won't be able to take it. Right now you're probably okay, but it's probably already 80, 85 maybe. But it'll get over 120 over there before you know it. My experience on my very first live trade, I was the luckiest guy on earth. And back then, we didn't have resources, we didn't have scans. We had newspapers, the Wall Street Journal, of what was moving. Don't you know that was fun? Or someone sent you an email from somewhere. It was called a whiteboard, I believe it was. You could post a question on the whiteboard and hope somebody responded in 2 or 3 or 4 days. But I saw a stock pick called Nuke, N-U-K-E, and I looked it up and saw an article that said they were developing nuclear batteries for the satellites. And the stock was 50 cents. And I said, I wonder if that's really a thing, because I knew nothing about nuclear this or that, or if they could even build a nuclear battery. I bought it, held on to it for about 4 months. It never did anything. One morning I woke up and it was $4.50. And I was holding 1,000 shares, and that was my first trade. I sold immediately, and within 2 weeks I had already lost it. So that was my first trading experience. Lucky to unlucky. It's on PC. So to a lot of you who are unfamiliar, and there are some in this group here, just don't rush into trading. Watch what we do every morning. You're going to say, man, I wished I was doing it. But if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Just keep watching, writing it down as if you bought it. Make sure that you're making money on paper. Don't practice with real money. That's my warning to you. Because even I make mistakes. Or the stock may not go my direction even though I made a good call. And don't buy because I say buy. You need to watch, learn, observe what's going on, and be confident about your decision to get in. It's not that you need to make money. It's not that you need to make a certain amount of money. It's that you need to learn. Once you learn, just concentrate on being profitable. I don't care if it's $1 or $10 a day. See how long you can keep it if you make $10 or $20 without losing it. Practice, practice, practice. And I can assure you this is going to be one of the hardest things you ever did, but once you figure it out, you're going to say, man, was I stupid? This is so easy now. And then one day you're going to get stung really hard and it's not going to seem easy anymore. You're going to have these things hit your mind that says you're good and you're not good, or what am I doing wrong? I did the same thing I did yesterday. And that's where you got to control your losses. You got to cut them short because you're not going to be right all the time. So the first thing to do is look at yourself as if you are already a professional trader. Give yourself a category. I am a professional trader. Now work your way up to being there. If you keep telling yourself you suck at trading, I'll never be able to do this, that's where you're going to stay. So consider yourself a good trader and improve yourself each and every day. Happy trader, I do give a hint by saying this is the support level. That's my hint. All right, guys, I appreciate you joining me. I'll do this again probably Wednesday next week because Thursday I'm probably going to be packing stuff up, getting the 4x4 going, getting the spare tire where it needs to be, packing the luggage where it needs to be, getting the oil changed, tires rotated. You know the story. Filling the tank up with gas, making that list of what are we forgetting. And then you get out on the road and you got to pull over and buy something you forgot anyway. That's how that goes. All right, guys. God bless you. Have a good trading. I'll see you in the morning. Bye bye.